just like it would do in real life if we're standing on a ball. For those of you who are interested in doing so, here's a simple test, and it doesn't require that you be a Freemason, a Luciferian, a Nazi, an occultist, or an atheist.
You're traveling through to another dimension, a dimension of not only paranoia and delusion, but of idiocy. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that pure ignorance. Your next stop, the batshit crazy zone.
If you're standing perpendicular on top of any point on the ball, but yet every single curvature chart you're going to find is going to show this same kind of nonsense, where they either have the observer or the target at ridiculous angles, or they're forcing the observer to look downward, such as in this example, but there's also plenty of others that depict essentially the same thing. In fact, if you go back to the Channel 57 ABC News Report Skyline Skepticism, the Lake Michigan Mirage, you remember the weatherman said,
now we have a lot of web extras with this story. Log on to abc57.com after this newscast. You can see the time lapse, a short lecture by Dr. Rennie, and how you can calculate how far you can see to the horizon based on your location. Reporting live, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coombs.
So let's check that out. Here on the website, scroll down, and he's got this link right here. How far away is the horizon? If you click on that, it takes you to this page right here. From Discover magazine, I guess. How far away is the horizon from bad astronomy? That's properly labeled, I think. Bad astronomy. It could also be bad geometry. So they've got this picture right here, to help you figure out the Earth's curvature. You got your little man here, in this case standing perpendicular to the ground, but he's looking down. He's not looking straight out. He's looking down. They always depict it that way. In fact, if we go to this other one here, Earth Curve Calculator, a lot of people like to use this one. This is the way it looks today. But I'm going to tell you that's not the way it has always looked. They've got the H0 or the observer here and the target perpendicular with the ground. But this is a recent change to the website. This is the way they used to depict it. They used to have H0 and H1 straight up and down, instead of perpendicular with the green line representing the globe. Here's a meme I created back on January 16th, and I posted it on Facebook. You see the problem here? Look at this graphic. Look at the way they have H0 and H1. See the angles? See the problem? That would mean that the person on H1 and the target are leaning inward, which means they're not standing perpendicular to the ground. They're leaning inward. I posted this meme on Facebook, and as I was making this video and getting ready to use this example right here, guess what? Okay, I posted this January 16th, and here it is February 2nd, and I go to this website and it's changed. So just to prove that they did this, somebody must have showed them the meme or saw something that either myself or somebody else was pointing out to mock this graphic. So they changed it. And here's the proof. You go back to the Wayback Machine, go back to October of last year, and what do you know? There's the original one. It was just a few months ago that they changed because they know that we're on to their game here.
Yeah, they're really sweating bullets over there. They're so concerned because you're onto them. Soon you'll expose their whole cabal of the round earthers, and we'll all find out that the earth is flat, and it'll make it so much easier for traveling. I'm actually looking forward to the day that you prove to us that the earth is, because if the earth is flat, it'll be so much easier. Travel will be just so much easier.
They know that what they're putting out is crap, but at least they're consistent. They're doing the same thing everybody else is doing. So let's go back to this other one from Metabunk. Now I'm going to enlarge this graphic and orient it so that PJ is standing straight up and down again, and lower him so that he's within the observer square. Now, this is what they're saying. This is the observer looking toward the horizon. But unlike their example here, where they're forcing the observer to look downward toward the horizon, My observer is in their little square looking straight out. And from the feet of my observer, the ground is curving downward.
Yeah, Rob, but you still have the same thing. You see how the green line down here, the curvature, is going off into the distance and then disappearing. And here is the line of the observer, this red line that you have coming from PJ's line of vision. Both of these lines, the red line and the green line, are perpendicular, and then they begin to diverge. It is the same thing with this other line right here. They're perpendicular, and then they begin to diverge. So you're changing the perspective, but you are basically creating the same graphic that they have right here. It's just that you are beginning PJ's point of perception at a different point of view, but it is still the same. It is still the same experiment, and it's still showing parallel nature, meaning that we look off to the horizon, and then the horizon appears in equal direction all around us, because that is the point of the essentially the pre-bulge, and then afterwards they diverge.
Just like it would do in real life if we're standing on a ball. For those of you who are interested in doing so, here's a simple test, and it doesn't require that you be a Freemason, a Luciferian, a Nazi, an occultist, or an atheist.
What do you think this was what makes up the cabal that's out to convince the world that the earth is round? Freemasons, Luciferians, Nazis, and atheists? Oh man, Rob, you are a source of entertainment. Thank you so much.
You don't even need to have a college education or a lot of money.
No, you don't. You probably need maybe junior high education.
What you need to do is get a long pole that would facilitate putting something up to your eye level. In this case, I've got like a 4x4 with a plank of wood on top of it. Make sure the vertical post is vertically level, and make sure the horizontal plate on top of it is also level. And then go get some paper towels. Use the paper towel tube. You can even keep the paper towels on it if you want to. But if you have just an empty paper towel tube, you can set on, tape to the top of it, and then stand behind it such that your eyeball is looking right through it. And then just look straight ahead through this forced experiment right here that keeps everything looking straight. And I would suggest you do this at a beach somewhere, so you don't have to deal with the topography of the land. You're going to know that there aren't any peaks and valleys, mountains and canyons or whatever on the ocean. You're going to have a straight, flat horizon. And if you do this, you're going to see the horizon is going to be right there. It's going to be right as you're looking through that tiny little field of view through that paper towel tube. You're going to see the horizon is going to be at eye level.
Rob, you're not giving a second point of perspective. You could do this experiment. Again, once you look through a tube, your peripheral vision is still going to take over, so that you're not necessarily forcing your perspective through this tube. What you're doing is you're limiting it for a certain distance, and once your field of vision goes outside of that tube, then it begins to spread again, and then you begin to take in the peripheral vision of what is around in that tube. What you want to do, again, 700 feet is probably the minimum to perceive a curvature of the Earth. But again, on this flat surface, you're going to use point A, and you can use this paper towel tube and 6 feet up so that it's at eye level, and that had that point A. 700 feet away, again, on a flat surface, put another object that is eye level, let's say about 6 feet. Just make sure that they are exact same height. So if it's going to be 5.42 inches, each one is going to have to be 5.42 inches. So they're the exact same height. That is very, very important. That's why I suggest using a laser pointer, but whatever. You can use tubes. Put those off, equal distance, exactly parallel to each other, parallel in height, parallel in the horizon, and then have them have them separated 700 feet away. Look through the tube from point A towards point B, and you will see that they do not line up. The point B is slightly lower. That is how you can do that. But again, that is pretty difficult to do. I would actually suggest, again, earlier, like I had mentioned, getting a laser pointer and just measuring the point of the laser at point B. So, yeah, if you have only a point A reference and you're doing this experiment, you're not doing anything. All you're doing is you're just forcing your vision for a foot, and then that's it. That's all you're doing. So this experiment is not proving anything.
And yet we've just shown you that that is physically impossible. That cannot happen. The ground has to be dropping away from you, receding downward in every direction from the point at which you're standing.
It does. It does. That's exactly what... Oh, man. This is exactly what they explained to you, Rob. It is going off in every single direction at the equal amount of curvature.
That's the way it works on a ball. That's the way the ball earth math works. According to Pythagoras and according to the spherical model invented by Eratosthenes.
It wasn't invented. It was observed.
Who calculated our circumference to within about 5% of its currently accepted circumference of 25,000 miles by looking at the sun in a well and the shadow of a phallic symbol.
No, this was the second experiment I was explaining to you. He did it by 5,000 stadia, which was approximately 400 kilometers. If you have a distance of these two cities, and you have one object right here, and you have the sun rays coming down. I believe he did this at the summer solstice or the equinox. I can't remember exactly which, but the shadow was directly overhead, so that there was no perceived shadow going off in any direction. It was basically directly on top of that. And then 4,000 kilometers away, there was another pole, and this shadow was cast off to the side. So that is the other one that I was explaining to you that you can do. However, it's a little more complex and involved.
So as you can see, this produces an extremely interesting problem for the ballers. And frankly, it means that Pythagoras and Eratosthenes just handed a trump card to the flat earthers. And pardon the pun, but there's simply no way around this problem. Indeed, if the squares of a chessboard are 1 mile across, all it takes is 3 moves for any flat earther to quickly put a ball earther into checkmate.
Yeah, so checkmate, round earthers. Well, it was only a matter of time before I got around to a flat earth video. So thank you so much, and blessed be.